Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just made a giant smoothie. I've been toying with my smoothie recipe because I feel like whenever I drink them, my stomach is full, but I get hungry like an hour later. This one, I use an entire banana, protein powder, and whole milk, some ice, and also some pudding mix. If you watch my other What I Eat in a Day videos, love adding pudding mix to it. So first of all, it's freaking giant, but we rolled it. We'll see if it keeps me full. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about my history with disordered eating and how I've come to find this life of no food rules and really kind of how it came to be, because you guys ask me that question a lot. I'm going to go drink my smoothie and probably answer a couple emails and then catch up with you guys in a little bit and get chatting. And if you guys watched my last video, I was wearing this same pullover. I'm obsessed with it. I got it from Costco. It's the softest thing ever. And I actually ended up having two of them because I ordered one and the order got lost, and I'm not mad about it. All right, guys, let's get into it. But first, an update on the whole smoothie thing. I feel like I do feel more full than I usually do. I added more banana, took out the Greek yogurt, more whole milk. Yeah. Feel good. I also slightly feel like I'm peeing every 5 seconds. My smoothie ended up being giant, so definitely need to cut the ice down because I added more other things. I know I'm not the only one. Let me know in the comments when you have a smoothie and you literally pee every 5 seconds. I kind of use it also as hydration because I'm not the best at drinking water. So, I mean, I guess I understand. But I'm also a huge coffee drinker. So when you combine having a smoothie with coffee, literally in the bathroom every 5 seconds. But it's fine, I'm super hydrated. So today we're gonna go over my history with disordered eating, really how it all developed and how I've come to become an intuitive eater and really find this life of food freedom. And I'm really gonna walk you through the steps that I took to do that. Okay, so we're going to bring it back all the way to high school. That sounds like forever ago, but it kind of paints a picture of the whole story. So in high school, I was always the jock. I was the girl who could eat literally all of the things. Kid you not, I've eaten an entire cake for breakfast. There's been 2 times in my life when I've done that, and I'll get to the other time, but I would eat an entire cake for breakfast. I was super active. I was always playing sports. I genuinely enjoyed just being active and running and going to the gym, lifting weights. It's always been something that I've loved to do. And I kind of took pride in the fact that I could eat literally all of the things and never gain an ounce. I kind of feel like it was like my claim to fame looking back, which is so sad to think about. But it's true. I was always the girl who could eat a lot, never gain an ounce. People were so perplexed. My friends would go on diets or try different things, and Colleen would just be sitting there eating frosting with her fingers. I would seriously have a can of frosting in my purse at all times because I was that active, you guys. And my metabolism, I also have a super fast metabolism. So those 2 things, that's just what happened. So then I went off to college, and hello cafeteria, all the cereals, all the donuts, all the no-bake cookies. Looking back, I really had no sense of my hunger and fullness. I felt like it was kind of hard for me to get enough food to keep up with my activity level. So I never really thought about my hunger and fullness. I was just always thinking about, okay, I need more food, because I did. I was so active. But went to college and I was still active. I still had a gym membership because I do genuinely enjoy moving. And I was doing a few triathlons. I had started doing them in high school and I was training for one my freshman year, but definitely wasn't just as overall active as I was in high school. So I did notice a little bit of a weight gain when you compare my decrease in activity to my increase in eating, because hey, all the donuts, all the cereals, like I said. And it was nothing that anyone would have noticed, but I noticed it and I felt it. This is so common. And I just want to say, if you guys can relate to anything that I'm saying in this kind of raw and real tell-all of my history with food, leave just a heart in the comments just to let me know that you guys have resonated with something that I've said, because that's my whole goal. This is to open up and tell you guys my story so that you can feel confident that you can overcome your story, whatever that might be. Know that you're not alone. That's the whole goal of this. Put a heart so that you know, hey, I resonate with this. It really helps me to create more content for you guys, knowing that this is the kind of stuff that you resonate with too. So just a little side note, put that in the comments. So back to college, noticed that small weight gain, and it started with just saying, okay, maybe I won't have the donut and the cereal and the cookie. I kid you not, guys, I ate so much. It just started with just that small restriction, and then it kind of went into the over exercising. So I would go to an extra session at the gym 1 time a week, and then it would get into I was going multiple times in the day. I also think there was a component of my studies. So I was studying to become a registered dietitian at the time. I am a registered dietitian today, so that's how that panned out. A lot of people ask me what came first, the disordered eating or becoming a registered dietitian? Did one influence the other? I don't necessarily think that me studying to become a registered dietitian contributed to my disordered eating. I do think it was kind of the perfect storm. I am very much so this type A personality. I am a perfectionist, and that's just a very common trait from people who suffer from disordered eating. That combined with learning about nutrition, I was literally studying, I can't even tell you how many hours a day. That also kind of became an obsessive behavior, my studying. I wasted my college years, you guys. All I did was study and obsess over food, and if I could go back, I would do a million things different. And that's just another reason why I've decided to make this my career, is because, you guys, I don't want anyone else to waste college or any time in their life because it's too good to waste. I wasted way too long of it, and that's my whole goal with helping you guys, is to show you that you don't need to waste your life like I did. Life is way too good to waste. So like I said, I just think it was kind of the perfect storm, and I became very restrictive, over exercise. I did get very small. And then towards the end of college, I did realize I had a problem, and I reached out for help. I did therapy, saw dietitians. Even though I was becoming a dietitian myself, I knew I needed extra help from someone who specialized in that. So even a dietitian, saw dietitians. I think it's a really strong thing to do, to reach out for help. So towards the end of college, I started to start this recovery process, and it started to just swing back and forth from my previous restriction to now binging and purging. It was a really, really bad time. It was a really dark time. It was just this pendulum that swung back and forth. I knew I couldn't live the rest of my life like this. I felt like this was this limbo phase for me. So I had gained some weight back. I quote unquote looked more normal, whatever the heck that means, but I was still obsessing over food. So yes, I could go out to dinner and order something, but it was still something very clean. I felt like anytime I broke a rule, it just led into that binging. So it was this very black and white mentality that it was either you are all in with the restrictive eating or you are all in with the binge eating. Towards the end of college was the second time that I've eaten an entire cake. That was rough. I had no idea of what hunger and fullness was, and I had restricted cake for so long that I just felt like I needed to eat the entire thing in one sitting. And I felt like I just went from one extreme to the other. And this is really normal, guys, this feeling of extreme hunger when you come from a period of restriction. But looking back, I wish I would have gone about it a different way, and I'll kind of get into how I adapted that. But rather than just kind of opening the floodgates and saying, I'm going to eat all of my fear foods at once, I wish I would have worked a little bit slower, and I'll get into what that looks like. Now, I don't think that you should restrict what you're eating, like the overall amounts, but I think it's okay to work through your fear foods and breaking those rules in a slower process. And I think that's something that would have helped me with what led to binging and purging. It was not good, guys. That was the darkest point of my life. So I graduated college in this limbo phase. This limbo phase is what I talk a lot about and who I am talking to when I'm talking about no food rules. This limbo phase is when you just have this cloud above your head. You're always thinking about food. It's an obsession that you just want to be free from. Now, I'm simply telling you guys what worked for me to find food freedom and really get myself out of this obsession with food. There are 8 million ways to find food freedom, and ultimately you have to do whatever works best for you. You have to listen to your body and know yourself. And there's nothing wrong with if my approach, what I've done, what I teach does not work for you. Everyone is totally different. I also want to say that I am not a eating disorder specific dietitian. I do help women overcome the restrict binge cycle, but my philosophy implementing that is not a replacement if you need one-on-one attention from a certified eating disorder dietitian. Like I said, it is a strong thing to reach out for help and to admit that. I've done it. It is tough stuff to do that, but it's so worth it, you guys. So if you are struggling with an active eating disorder and you really think you need more help, please reach out to a certified eating disorder dietitian for that help. This is, like I said, not a replacement. I'm just telling you guys what's worked for me and to show you that I've struggled with the same things and I've now found this freedom and that it is possible. I want to be your inspiration and let you know that it's possible to get out of this limbo phase, but you really need to reach out for that help if you are having an active eating disorder right now and you need that one-on-one attention. Okay, so now let's get to it. So after graduating college is when, like I said, I really started to find this no food rule framework that has worked for me and now works for thousands of other women. There are really these three components to living a life of no food rules. The first, what I kind of call pillar of my framework, is mindset. You have to rewire your brain away from how it's previously viewed food. It's honestly unlearning a lot of the diet culture BS that we've been taught, showing your brain that there's a new way of thinking about food, a new way to live a life of freedom. This mindset piece is huge because it's one thing to eat a cupcake. It's another thing to eat it without guilt, stress, or anxiety. And that comes from the mind work. You can sit there and eat cupcake after cupcake after cupcake, but if you are not doing the work in your mind, in your brain, in your mindset, you're always going to have that guilt, stress, and anxiety. So I really believe that this mindset piece, rewiring your brain using mantras, affirmations, visualization is so important. I have a blog post all on my favorite intuitive eating affirmations, so I'm going to link that in the description so you guys can take a look at that. It's such a great resource. So the second piece of my framework is to break your food rules systematically. So for me, like I said, this is personally just what worked for me. I broke my food rules one by one versus trying to do them all at once. I didn't start eating all of the foods that I was terrified of at once in one day, just kind of going ham and opening the floodgates to them, because for me, that just led me to wanting to restrict even more the next day. So instead, I said, this is one food or one rule. Maybe it's timing of food. Maybe it's ordering something off of a menu without knowing the nutrition information. I picked one thing and overcame that and worked towards normalizing. Just pick one thing and work on that. Now, it's super important to note that throughout this whole process, working one by one through your food rules, you are honoring your hunger at all times. Honoring your hunger when you are coming from a really bad place with food rules is hard enough. So for me, telling myself, okay, honor your hunger, but do it with pizza and ice cream and all the thick sandwiches, whatever it is that are your food rules, you don't have to do it all at once. First thing is to honor that hunger, and it's okay to work slowly through those fear foods. Again, my personal opinion, what I did. I tried just eating all of my fear foods literally in one day, and I wanted to crawl into a hole, and I was taking one step forward and two steps back. But when I started to work more slowly, and I gave myself grace and I didn't feel like I had to be perfect and just recover in a snap, is when I saw progress. And I'll say this once and I'll say it again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but there are a million ways to improve your relationship with food, and this is what's worked for me. So the third piece of my no food rule framework is all about body image. I truly believe that in order to have a healthy relationship with food, you have to have a healthy relationship with what you put that food into. Because I mean, think about it. If you don't focus on your body image in the way that you are viewing and treating and respecting your body, how are you going to be able to honor your hunger if you're terrified your body's going to change because you have a horrible relationship with your body image? You can't. I really had to shift my mindset from a place of trying to control my body, because that's really what it was. I was trying to use it as a way to have some sort of sense of control and to look a certain way, to be acceptable. Remember, I have that very type A perfectionistic tendencies. I wanted to be quote unquote perfect. And to me, that also meant my body and what I looked like. There is no perfect body. Everything that you see in those magazines is bogus because it's all airbrush, so it's not even real. All of those standards that we're holding ourselves to are false. So I shifted my mindset from a place of trying to control that body to a place of respect and appreciation. Now, that not only means viewing your body in that way, but also treating it in that way. And I think that's a really important piece. Now, we want to be very kind to ourselves mentally and physically and treat both of those pieces with respect. So this respect and appreciation is all about finding balance. So for instance, say you go to a birthday party and there's cake there. You can eat that cake if you want the cake and you don't need to feel guilty about it. You can even eat the cake if you're not actually hungry using the hunger scale. I'm gonna link to a video that shows you how to use the hunger scale. Super, super great video. Take a look at it if you are unfamiliar with the hunger scale. But going back to the birthday party, you can eat that birthday cake to honor your mental health. You can even have a second piece if you want. But I do believe in thinking, this cake tastes delicious, but how would I feel if I went for a fourth piece, fifth piece, sixth piece? Would I feel super great? I do think that respect and appreciation does take into account both the mental and physical health and finding that balance. And that's a really, really tough thing to do. I get that. And a lot of times when you are just starting this process, you do need to put that physical health on the back burner and just honor that hunger that you feel, that mental health. Sometimes there are seasons when you put that nutritional perspective, that physical health on the back burner and just focus on that mental health, like when you are really just starting this process or when you are overcoming an eating disorder, then that's got to take the back burner. But just know that you can get to a place where you do honor both of those things. I truly believe that. It's all about respect and appreciation for both your mental health and your physical health. This also goes into exercise and finding that balance. Again, I know it's really tough to find that balance and it takes a lot of experimentation. If you're really struggling like I was with exercising, take time off, honor that mental health, and then you can bring it back in at a slower pace and find the balance that feels good for you. I do have a blog post all about how I stopped working out and what happened. I'm gonna link to that in the description too, so you can take a read to that one. And after I implemented those 3 areas, that's where I am today. Now, it did not happen overnight. It took years, but I'm hoping that by me sharing these 3 steps with you, you guys can do it way faster, and I'm here to support you during the whole process. Life today is so much brighter. I can go out on date night with my husband and get ice cream and not have to worry about it. I can have a rest day and sit in bed all day, drink coffee, and watch Parks and Rec on repeat as Amy Poehler's my gal. Life is so different and it's so much better with freedom, and I can't tell you guys that enough. Can't tell you how important it is to find support during this process when you are implementing these 3 pillars. It's so, so important to have people there to help you, to guide you, to support you, to just be there if you need to vent. So important, because you can't let your thoughts, your emotions just swirl around in your head because you're just going to go insane. You have to get them out, whether it's to a person, on paper. Just get it out of your head. And like I said, following my no food rule philosophy is not a replacement if you are needing to work with a dietitian one-on-one to overcome an eating disorder. So just be really, really honest with yourself and knowing what you need, what is going to be the best support for you. There are a million different ways. Bottom line, you need to listen to your body and know your personality so that you can find what works best for you, so that you can find this freedom too. If you get one thing from this video, I want you to know that it's totally possible. I did not think it was, and look at me now. Whew. Okay, you guys, that was a doozy. Remember, I want you to put a heart in the comments if you resonated with anything in this video. Ask me questions in the comments. Let me know what you still have questions about, and let me know what other types of videos you want to see on this channel, because I want to be sure I'm creating everything that you guys want to see. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and also hit that little bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded. I upload them every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so you'll get notified about that. Liking the video and subscribing really does help me to create more content for you guys so that you can keep learning how to live with no food rules. All right, guys, I will see you next week, and I'm probably gonna go pee again because it's been a little bit since I started recording this video and I had that big smoothie. So, see you later.